What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode 85 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the Japanese Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, the first episode of Season 6, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And as always, if you are new around here, then make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues on. We hit 2,000 subscribers early today, so thank you guys so much, as always, for the support on this series and on the channel as a whole. Looking forward to bringing out more content as F1 25 continues on. We've had an upgrade fail here in the chassis department from Hamilton. This one of Lewis's upgrades from the last episode, so we're going to fix that. And we've got a few points, got just enough points to go for one more upgrade of our own on the aero department, and that'll come in after the race in Japan today and for the next round in Bahrain. We're still fourth fastest team, but the gap is quite close there between McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull as a whole. So the top four quite close. Of course, 1 point separate Ferrari from Red Bull in the constructors, and Max Verstappen won the first race of the season. Liam Lawson came home in 5th place for RB, so props to him for a fantastic race and much better than his real life debut for Red Bull. Our powertrain upgrade from last episode has failed, unfortunately, so I have to put some points towards fixing that as we advance time here and continue to prepare for this Japanese Grand Prix. Hamilton's other upgrade failed, so 2 upgrades there, one for me and one for Lewis, both failing in the gap between Australia and Japan. Let's put some points towards fixing at least one of those 2 upgrades. In terms of Lewis, this one failed on the aero front, but we can't do that one for now, so let's go back over to powertrain and do our upgrade, so get that one repaired with 200 resource points, 4 left to spare. But that unfortunately could cost us some time in terms of R&D to the top 3 teams, but hopefully we can try and keep that gap close. But it's time now to head to Japan for the second race of the season to get the race weekend underway with qualifying.
A warm welcome, everybody, from a venue that has seen plenty of sensational laps over the years. Remember, Verstappen in 23, Vettel in 2019, some phenomenal pole laps. But whose will it be today?
Here we go then, qualifying about to get underway for the Japanese Grand Prix, round 2 of the season, and of course the first race on this LiDAR scanned Suzuka circuit. But unfortunately, before we head out on the racetrack, we've got a braking system fault to deal with, so that while the engineers fix that, we've got 2 minutes to wait at the pit lane. And weather says a chance of rain in the, we're starting with rain in the Grand Prix, but it also says sunny 0 minutes. So are we in for a dry race or a wet race there to start things off? Not entirely sure, but on to our first lap now, out of turns 17 and 18 to start our first flying run around the brand new Suzuka circuit. This is my first lap on this scanned layout, so hopefully it doesn't go too badly. We're heading towards turn 1 now, of course, quite fast. Right hand of the first corner. Lando Norris is there, waiting for us at the exit of turn 1, going into turn 2, and only just out the way there, and we came very close to hitting him. Very similar to Hamilton and Monza last season. Going through turn 3 now, and into the S's for the first time. You can see the cherry blossoms there, blooming at the side of the racetrack. A fantastic sight to see. It's a wonderful thing to see over in Japan. Continuing on up the hill here through the S's and into turn number 7, the end of the S's near the end of the Spurs sector. One of the Alpines there in front of Jack Doohan as we near the end of sector number 1. It'll be a 33-0 starting off. So decent start, but of course, as always, time to be found on our second or perhaps even third run. As Doohan moves over, he lets us go nice and easy there. Heading over towards 130 now to complete our first lap, and then into turn 15 here, of course, fast left-handed, very daring to move here, because we went move here on Alonso several years ago to win our Grand Prix. We took victory here in 2023, of course, second place in 2024 last year. We're going to finish lower than second at Suzuka. Hopefully that trend continues here to come through turn 18 to complete our first lap at 1 minute 31.0, which puts us P5 between the 2 Haas cars. We have slower than Antonelli, and assumably Verstappen is the fastest car on the circuit. Let's have a look at the leaderboards here in a moment, but again, look at this weather here. In terms of what's to play in for in the Grand Prix, Verstappen is fastest from Norris and Piastri. We're down in P9 here, and Hamilton P18. These Ferraris are not on it after the first lap, so work to do on our second run. Now into the last sector we come, or into the end of the second sector rather, and coming on to the end of qualifying here. Check a flag is falling, it's our last lap, and 6 tenths up going into that final sector, pushing up towards the line to complete the second intermediate. 1 minute 12.2 on the board there. Of course, they've got a gap of 131, and Hamilton now P10, being out-qualified by Bortoletto right now. Quite embarrassing. Sauber versus Ferrari there. They're going into the last 3 corners, into the final chicane, and improving by almost 3/4 of a second, sliding out the last corner through turn 18 up towards the line. Almost 8 tenths improvement, will put us to P5 on the starting grid, so 3rd row of the grid, and lucky it could have been a lot worse than that, but all in all decent qualifying, and looking forward now to the Grand Prix.
With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So your top 10 then: Verstappen on pole, Piastri 2nd, Norris 3rd, Tsunoda 4th place for his home race. We qualify 5th, then Russell 6th, Antonelli, Ocon, Behrman and Gasly round out your top 10 with Hamilton and P11. Works to do for him in the Grand Prix, but now it's time for the race.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles. It's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 circuit. And the drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. Keep an eye out for overtakes into the final chicane. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Tsunoda, Cohen and Russell, Ocon, Behrman, Gasly and Lewis Hamilton, Bortoleto, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg and Sainz, Stroll, Lawson, Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Jack Doohan. Albon and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'll give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. Glorious Suzuka. It's a bit like Silverstone, an iconic track for which we couldn't have an F1 season without it. And so much for the drivers to think about around here.
Absolutely, Crofty. The only figure-of-8 circuit that we have on the calendar, and you kind of wonder, why don't we have more? Because it's such a good format. The drivers love this track. It's got a great flow to it, a fantastic circuit. Not the best for overtaking, but my goodness, from inside the car, it's a real treat for the drivers.
Here we go then, no more talking. Time for action for the Japanese Grand Prix from P5 on the starting grid. Round 2 of the season and our second Grand Prix with Ferrari. Intermediate tyres are the tyres on offer here. It's saying wet conditions, but there's no actual sign of rain on the track here. Whether that's a game bug, I'm not too sure, but it looks like Inter's all the way from here on out.
So the formation lap gets underway here in Japan. This circuit is one of the favourites amongst the drivers, and I'm sure each and every one of them is looking forward to the race ahead. All of them hoping they can leave Suzuka on a high note.
So Inter's for F1 and the race start, but the track looks bone dry. So is this a game bug, or are we going to see some rain at the start?
As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
We've won this race before, but deja vu is in play here because, of course, it was these sort of conditions last season. We were on the intermediate tyres in rather light rain conditions, and the rear tyres struggled massively. So we could be seeing a repeat of that in this race, but of course, even that Grand Prix, we managed to scam a second place finish out of that. So that's the aim today: try and get ourselves on the podium, try and maintain that advantage to Max Verstappen, and try and take the lead from him if we can with a victory. But Verstappen looks strong, the McLarens look fast, and of course, Yuki Tsunoda in a contending car in his home Grand Prix. What can he do from P4 as the last few cars take their spots down the back of the grid? 27 grueling laps away here at the Suzuka circuit. The lights come on now for the Japanese Grand Prix, round 2 of the 2025 season. Lights out, foot to the floor, go, 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 racing in the land of the rising sun. Good start from Verstappen there, poor start from Yuki on the right for the run down to first corner. 3 wide for a moment there as the McLaren's trying to take Max at turn 1, but into turn 2 now. Norris goes wide, but maintains P3, comes back in front of us and holds on to third. P4 for us into 1 place gain off the start as Yuki and George go side by side behind us in towards turn 3. They're a bit deep there, so off our line a little bit, so the Inters are still struggling here in these conditions. I'm not entirely sure what the game's playing at here, because there's no sign of rain anywhere, no sign of spray, nothing, but the intermediate tyres aren't holding up particularly well on the start, at least for us compared to everyone else. As Verstappen, Piastri and Norris pulling away here. All 3 cars now second in front of us to come up through turn 7. And Tsunoda and Russell on our tail as we complete the first sector of this race. On to lap 2 now, the end of lap 2, heading down towards 130 for the second time. Yuki with a good run, making his way down towards turn number 15 on the circuit. But we're going to move things if we can. Won't go for it just yet, but a good chance awaits him in the chicane on the main straight, going down towards turn 1 on lap 3. Yuki doesn't go for it just yet, keeps himself in line, of course. Wants a good result in front of the home crowd. His first time in a car that can actually win races here in 2025 as Verstappen leads lap 2, fastest lap as well. 1 minute 40 there. We set 1 minute 42, so we're actually 2 seconds slower than Max right now. And Piastri and Norris 3 and 2 seconds in front of us. Tsunoda pulls to the outside now, goes for P4 into turn 1. We are struggling massively here as Yuki takes P4, tries to slide back inside, but makes contact, so that's sort of got to let him go now. And Russell now sits right behind us Gasly in P7. So a few cars pulling away from the train here very early on in this Grand Prix to chase Yuki through the S's once again here.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions look good. We're not certain which is the best tyre right now, dries or inters.
So whether the rain has been and gone, not entirely sure here, but the inters right now are the tyre run. We've got to try to make use of them as best we can. But Russell is making much better use of them, going down towards 130R on lap 3 of this race and closing in. Might make his move inside if he can get close enough. Not quite there just yet, but again, same with Yuki. Could have a good chance down the main straight or potentially into the chicane. He tries the outside for a second to defend the inside, going into the corner, into turn 16 to go over the curbs there and try and keep control of things. But running deep, they're going wide off of turn 17 and into the grass a bit. Russell takes full advantage, goes dancing on the outside, and DRS does benefit too. So Russell to P5, we're down to P6, and Gasly trying to go for a double whammy here on the run towards turn 1. Gasly takes his breezes past. Ferrari versus Alpine should not be that simple for the Alpines to make the pass. So down to P7 now, and again, we're struggling massively on these tyres. The rears are burning up as they did last year. We've learned nothing in the time since. And it's mad to think we actually won our first race in conditions such as this 5 years ago. But on to lap 5 now, and our teammate Lewis Hamilton is on our tail. We've got an objective to keep our tyre wear under 39%. It's a tougher task than it seems here. It's sliding out of turn 17. Lewis right behind us here on the run down towards turn 1. DRS in play for our teammate. Once again, wheel to wheel with our new Ferrari teammate going towards the first corner. And Lewis makes his move now to the right. Going to pull alongside for turn 1. Going into the first corner. Going to keep ourselves in front. Lewis ducks back in line. Going through turn 2. Running wide on turn 2. Lewis seizes his chance. Goes to the inside for a second and doesn't quite get the job done. He's still a bit on corner exits. Going into turn 3, go back up the inside and take the place back. But Lewis will not let us keep the place that easily here. We might be teammates now. We were teammates before, but we are still rivals on track as Hamilton continues to chase here. Behrman running in P9, doing a remarkable job there, looking for his first career points in Formula 1. As we make our way further now, flying up the hill through turn 7, once again onto the outside lap 7 now. Hamilton making his move for the second time now, pulling to the right. Look at that rear tyres there, 46 and 45. They're burning up at this point in the Grand Prix, over 100 degrees on both of them, and there's nothing we can do to try and maintain tyre temperature or tyre wear at this point. Lewis is pulling in front, and now Ocon P9 and Behrman P10. On to lap 9 now, and our orange tyre light is already on here, and that's not meant to come into play until later on in the Grand Prix. We're meant to go another 5 laps or so on these tyres, but saying that, we're still on a bit of a crossover in terms of drive into. There's no actual sign of rain at all here, so if we could make a potential strategic change and go on to perhaps a set of hard tyres and run those to the end, could that be a potential game plan? It's worth finding out. It's a risk because we can try and take us into the pit lane now, making our switch on our first and hopefully final stop for this Grand Prix onto a set of hard tyres. So I think these tyres shouldn't burn up as much being in the wrong conditions. The Inters they were a viable option at first, given that there was potentially rain before the start of the Grand Prix. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but I think whether it was meant to be more rain, not too sure whether it was meant to stay dry, not entirely sure either. But coming in now for our change, hard tyres going on. This is a gamble we're taking, because if this goes wrong, then we could be out of the chance of even points in this Grand Prix, let alone a podium finish or the win. But make your way out of the pit lane, sliding there on corner exit. I'm hoping that's down to cold tyres and not down to a poor choice in which tyres to take in that pit stop. But making your way now through to turns 1 and 2 seems nice and easy. We're going into turn number 11, the hairpin here, going way too deep late on the brakes and soaring off, almost into hitting the grass there. So let's be careful in terms of our braking zone. We're getting these tyres up to condition again as they should be, and pushing further on now towards the end of the lap. A number of cars making their way towards the pit lane here. It looks like Verstappen and Norris coming in, and it looks like everyone's coming in on this time round. So we've made the right choice in terms of going into these tyres a bit early. We can try and undercut a few cars here going into the last chicane, and a few cars pitting. Anthony in P17 there. He started instead of the top 10 as he run deep, going through the chicane, but keeping the car on the track more or less and avoiding a warning. So going on to lap number 11 now. A number of cars all coming in. Practically everyone's coming in now. Yellow flag over in turn number 3. Looks like one of the Red Bulls. Looks like Yuki might have a problem of some kind here as he comes through turns 3 and 4. He's making way into P10, back in front of Ocon only just there. But Yuki looks to be slowing. Looks to have a problem of some kind. It looks to be potentially out of this Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix, and the first time the car can actually try and challenge for a victory in, and this is going to be gutting for him. Yuki Tsunoda is indeed out of the Grand Prix, and of all the drivers in all the places to go out the Grand Prix, there he is on the right, Yuki stricken and out of this Japanese Grand Prix. Have a look at the replay of what just happened to Tsunoda there, as his car I assume goes from smoke in some way. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to have a look and see what's happened. So going through turn 2 after his pit stop, everything seems all fine, but then backs off a bit, goes off the racing line. That's not often a telltale sign with the AI that something is amiss. And there is George Russell's Mercedes, followed by, I think, Norris's McLaren, and this Sauber, I think that could be Gabriel Bortoletto coming out of pit lane there. But unfortunately, that is Tsunoda out of the race. He's off pace, offline, and that's pulled the car over to the right, and that'll be game over, unfortunately, for Tsunoda. But of course, we'll come through, and our aim now is to try and get ourselves back up the order, try and close those cars that took us in the first stint. cars like Hamilton, Gasly, Russell, onto the end lap 11, start lap 12 here, 2 purple sectors, and green sector. Fastest lap there, 1 minute 38.0, fastest lap we've got all day, and we'll go up to P7, the number of cars now pitting, and Lewis next car in front of us, 5 seconds in front ahead, and Gasly 6 seconds in front, but Hamilton, Morrison are taking Gasly, and Hamilton does take Gasly, so we've got to try and get around Pierre first before we focus on our teammate, and go further on to lap 17 now, nearing the last 10 laps of this race, into the second half of the Grand Prix, and run these hard all the way to the end, making our move to the inside now in the chicane, and our first real pass all day here, and that felt so satisfying to get that move done at last, to get our pace back around those circuits off the last corner, and continue on now. The charge begins towards chasing down our teammate 3 seconds in front of us on those medium tyres. Russell P4, the team McLaren P3 and P2, and Verstappen, again, as it was in the last race, still showing the way here. Had to work on chasing Lewis down there, onto lap 19, a lap later, and on Lewis's tail in DRS range, once again, and looking for our second real overtake of the afternoon here, going through turn 17 and through turn 18 now. DRS in play, but Lewis pits here off those medium tyres, so perhaps wasn't the right move for Lewis to go for the 2 stops. So Lewis is into the pit lane. Max made a stop on the medium tyres himself now. Norris now sits in P1. Piastri and Russell both stopping on their hard tyres, presumably for sense of mediums for this late charge in the Grand Prix. We're being called in potentially by our team.
Let's have you in at the end of this lap, please.
Truthfully, I did consider boxing here before the end of this Grand Prix, put a set of soft tyres and bolt, but truthfully, Piastri not getting too much from his medium tyres. Norris is pitting, so we might actually try and take him for P2. This could be a good result and a better result than expected if we can hold on these hard tyres all the way to the end, try and make the one-stop work in these final 7 laps. So into the pit lane for Norris. Verstappen reclaims the lead, nice and easy, he's set for the win. Short something going wrong, but we're going to pass Norris. Potentially at the pit lane here on lap 21. Final 7 laps of this Grand Prix. There is Norris on the right. Take P2 here, going out towards turn 1. Signs might likely pit. Piastri will take P4 back. But in terms of Norris is not our race, truthfully. He's a lot faster than we are at this stage of the race. So on to the end lap 21 now, and Norris is on our tail once again on the run down towards this first corner. DRS in play for Norris, and again, he's not our race. Not going to waste time fighting again. He's going to get us regardless. So we'll hold on to P3 for now then, and Piastri now 11 seconds back, so closing in. But at this rate, he's not close enough, and I don't think he's got enough time to run us down these last 6 or so laps. This Japanese Grand Prix. So push on here as Norris pulls away with P2 on towards lap 26 here, and beginning the final lap of this Grand Prix. Verstappen 22 seconds in front. What a last stint for him. And Piastri 7.9 back, with Hamilton now in P5 over Russell, making that past couple laps. Goes on to the last lap for us now. We're in complete control of third place and looking for a good podium after what could have been potentially a disastrous race for us here in Japan. Verstappen is up front by a long way here. What a lead he's pulled in this last stint. What a fantastic driver he's been in this Grand Prix. Of course, we narrowly lost out to him in the first race. This time, no one can argue with him. Max Verstappen runs the line, wins race number 2 of the season here in Japan. Norris will take on second place, and for us, we're a couple corners away now from third as Verstappen celebrates. The hard tyres almost completely destroyed here compared to Piastri's quite well done mediums. 5.5 pound now. He's getting out a race of knots, but again, he's going to run out of room, run out of racetrack, run out of time here. Last few corners, this could have been disastrous. No score for us, so that gamble not paid off. Made the one-stop work though, and through turn 18 for the final time, claiming our second podium of the season. It's third place here in Japan, behind Verstappen and Norris. That could have been a lot worse than it actually was in the end. I'll happily take a third place after the stress that was the first stint, and honestly, the gamble worked for us so nicely. Driver of the day 2, saving ourselves from potential disaster here in Japan. Fantastic race.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course, Crofty. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number. One of the all-time greats celebrates yet again. It's another podium, it's another top step for Max Verstappen.
So Verstappen wins race number 2, then Norris in second, and we finish in third place. Verstappen and Red Bull look imperious for this season, but of course we've seen this in them before, we've seen them do this in previous seasons, of course we've still come back to beat them, so confidence not gone just yet. 2 podiums in 2 races to Ferrari, nothing to sniff at, and we should still be second place in the World Championship. We'll have a look now at the final result towards a very exciting Japanese Grand Prix, well that leaves us after 2 rounds in the 2025 World Drivers' Championship.
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
So Piastri then 4th place, Hamilton finishes in P5 over Russell in 6th place, Gasly finishes 7th, Sainz 8th, Ocon 9th, and Hulkenberg takes Sauber's first points in over a year with a 10th place finish, Alonso 11th, Antonelli in P12, and Behrman fell outside of the points, P14 again. It's not a fantastic race for the Haas driver, but his teammate Ocon got points. Verstappen leads by 17 points then after 2 races in the World Championship. Piastri in 3rd place, Hamilton 4th, and Norris in 5th. But we line up in 2nd place after these first 2 rounds. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull and Ferrari scored the exact same, so still 1 point in it between the 2 teams. McLaren in 3rd place, Mercedes in 4th place. And after 2 rounds, everyone scored points this season. But guys, that'll do it for this episode of the F1 Ultimate Career Series. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future F1 content. And an absolutely fantastic day. I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.